Welcome to Plot Twist, your place for quick summaries of movies with jaw-dropping twists. Let's dive in. The series begins in Germany with a skilled hitman named Jackal inside the headquarters of a major company. He is disguised as an old man working as a cleaner in that company under the name Ralph. It becomes clear that Jackal has a mission in this company. To carry it out, he resorts to his disguise. Jackal enters an office in the company under the pretense of cleaning it, but in reality, he's there to prepare the equipment he will use to execute his mission. Suddenly, an employee walks in on him. Jackal shoots him. The security officer outside hears the sound of gunfire, so he comes to check what's happening. Jackal kills him too. He continues killing everyone around him until he finally reaches his target, a young man named Elias, who is the owner of the company. We learn that he is the son of the German candidate. Manfred. Jackal shoots Elias in the leg from the top of the stairs. Despite being able to kill him, he settles for the injuries he inflicted. Afterward, Jackal returns to his residence and removes his mask, revealing his true appearance. He is a handsome young man, with cunning and intelligence evident in his expressions. Jackal is a very calm person, speaks little, and spends time alone to review the messages he receives about the tasks he must carry out and to check if he has new assignments. The next day, we see the German candidate Manfred rushing to the hospital where his son Elias is admitted. It is apparent that he is a very hated person. No one in the German public wants him to win. Protests against him are held everywhere, to the extent that his driver struggles to get through the crowds of protesters. At the same time, we see Jackal standing on a high floor of the building opposite the hospital. Where Elias is admitted, Jackal begins assembling his sniper rifle to carry out his next mission, which involves assassinating the politician Manfred as soon as he arrives at the hospital. Indeed, with Manfred's first step into the hospital, Jackal shoots him in the head from over 3,800 meters away, killing him with great precision. Afterward, he collects his belongings and leaves the location, leaving behind an explosive device for the police officers who attempt to track him down. It turns out that Elias's injury was merely bait to lure Manfred to the hospital, so Jackal could assassinate him. The next day, Jackal travels to France, disguised as a businessman. He is searched at the border between France and Germany. The officer finds nothing suspicious in his car, except for a very rare chess set. The officer asks him what he does with it. Jackal responds that he likes to keep rare items like this. The officer lets him pass after thoroughly checking his documents. Meanwhile, a negotiator from Germany contacts the London police, requesting their cooperation in the Manfred assassination case. They consider it a very challenging and complicated case, especially since the killer left no evidence behind to lead them to him. Moreover, the shot was fired from a distance, exceeding the longest recorded sniper kill by about 300 meters. This indicates that they are dealing with a highly skilled assassin who knows exactly what he's doing, as evidenced by the lack of any forensic evidence against him so far. At this point, a detective named Bianca attends a meeting. She begins connecting the events and confirms that the sniper rifle used in the assassination was custom-made, to the extent that it might have been manufactured in two parts, to allow transportation in a small box without drawing attention. She recalls an Irish weapons manufacturer named Stock, who had been attempting to create a sniper rifle with such specifications for several years. She decides to track him down in hopes that he might be a lead they can use to find the killer. After the meeting, her superior, Isabel, encourages her, expressing confidence in her abilities. The next day, Bianca travels to meet Allison, the sister of Stock, who had recently been released from prison. Bianca asks Allison about the last time she communicated with Stock. Allison claims she knows nothing about Stock since he fled, and insists she is not obligated to help or share any information about Stock. Bianca, however, is clever and uses a different form of pressure, threatening Allison with a return to prison if she doesn't cooperate. The following day, Jackal receives a message from an anonymous source in Sweden, informing him that the organization wants to collaborate on the assassination of a specific individual. They also send him an advance payment. The next day, Jackal travels to Sweden, where he meets a representative of the organization named Zena. Jackal asks her about the target they want him to eliminate. She reveals that it's a politician named Old Charles Jackal, then informs her that the assassination will be very costly. She tells him that the organization is offering $10 million for the job. He counters, demanding 10 times that amount. She asks for time to discuss his demand with the organization and promises to get back in touch with him. Meanwhile, Bianca receives no response from Allison, who ignores all her messages. Bianca comes up with another plan, this time targeting Emma, Allison's daughter, to pressure her into cooperating. Bianca and her team arrest Emma, framing her with an assault charge against a police officer. They also deny her access to legal representation. Their goal is to lure Allison to the police station. However, something unexpected occurs. Emma suffers a breakdown in custody, leading to a heart attack. She is rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment, but tragically she passes away despite the doctor's efforts. The next day, Allison calls Bianca, unaware of her daughter's death. She informs Bianca that the officers won't let her see her daughter, and she has no information about what happened to her. Bianca asks her to provide Stock's contact information, promising to release her daughter from custody in return. On the same day, a forensic report reveals that Emma had pre-existing heart conditions, which triggered her death. However, this does not absolve Bianca from legal accountability, especially since she orchestrated the false charges against Emma to trap Allison. Her mother brings Bianca's colleague, a lawyer named Carver, to help her evade accountability. They believe they should stay out of the case as it would cause them many problems. However, Bilbo refuses and reminds them they promised the Germans to help them reach the sniper. They give Bianca a 24-hour deadline to deliver Stock's number before the news of her mother's death breaks. Bianca contacts Allison again, explaining she needs the number sent today to resolve the matter. Meanwhile, Jackal travels to his home in Spain and is sitting in his office when his wife Nuria enters and asks what he's busy with. He tells her he has work problems he's trying to solve, and she reassures him she'll always stand by him and everything will be fine. Nuria has no idea about his real involvement in the criminal world. The next day, the organization's members meet and assign Jackal the task of assassinating Ollie. They watch a TV interview with Ollie, where he announces he's about to reveal a unique product capable of achieving global economic justice. They decide they must eliminate him before the product's announcement, as it threatens their operations. Later, Jackal celebrates his son Carlito's birthday with Nuria and their friends in Spain. Everyone is happy and loves Jackal, unaware of his true identity. During this time, Allison asks Larry to call Stock for help regarding the matter with Emma. Larry is hesitant, saying he doesn't want to rely on his younger brother every time there's a problem. Allison convinces him it's an emergency, and he agrees to do it. Her plan to obtain Stock's number hinges on this call. Back in Spain, Jackal receives a message from the organization requesting an urgent meeting regarding Ollie's assassination. He excuses himself from Nuria and their family, explaining he needs to travel for work. Nuria insists on driving him to the airport. Once there, Jackal ensures she's left before changing his route to meet Xena. However, Nuria coincidentally spots him taking a taxi and immediately calls him, only to find his phone switched off. She begins to suspect he's cheating on her and confides in her mother. Upset, her mother blames her for trusting him blindly. Nuria's brother overhears and promises to take action if Jackal is indeed unfaithful. That night, Allison discovers Larry called Stock. She quickly checks his phone while he's distracted, taking a photo of the last numbers he dialed, including Stock's brother's number, and sends it to Bianca. Meanwhile, Jackal meets Xena, who informs him the organization can't afford the amount he demanded as it's beyond their financial capacity. She asks him to lower his rate, and he agrees, setting a specific timeline to complete the mission before Ollie announces his new product. Bianca tracks Stock's location using the phone number and finds him in Belarus. The police prepare and head there immediately. During the raid, they are shocked to find Stock prepared for their arrival, firing randomly and killing 2 officers before escaping in a car. Bianca tries to shoot him but misses, allowing him to get away. While standing near his house, Bianca discovers a strange bag on the ground. She takes it and moves it to her colleague's car before leaving. The next day, Allison and Larry are devastated to learn their daughter Emma has died and break down on their way to collect her body. Meanwhile, Bianca's team decides to investigate her due to the numerous issues she caused, stemming from her mistaken belief that Stock manufactured the sniper rifle used to kill Manfred. They decide to close the case and withdraw German assistance. However, Bianca surprises them with a shocking revelation. The bag she found near Stock's house contains a rifle matching the specifications of the sniper rifle used to kill Manfred. Bilbo realizes the case is far from over and allows Bianca to continue her investigation. Bianca thanks her and sends Allison a voice message apologizing for everything that happened and requesting a face-to-face meeting. Later, Nuria tells her mother she still hasn't been able to contact Jackal. Her mother advises her to take a stand, as the situation is unusual. While they're talking, Jackal calls Nuria, and she quickly answers. He apologizes for not contacting her earlier, explaining he was extremely busy. Nuria confronts him about seeing him in a taxi after dropping him off at the airport, demanding an explanation. Jackal denies it, claiming she must have mistaken someone else for him. However, Nuria is certain and asks where he is. Jackal says he's in a hotel in Amsterdam. Nuria asks him to turn on his camera to show her his surroundings, but Jackal refuses, stating he doesn't like being on camera. Nuria suspects he's with another woman and threatens to take the first flight to Amsterdam if he doesn't comply. Reluctantly, Jackal turns on the camera, showing her his suite. He asks her to show him Carlito, and she agrees, making him happy because he misses him. Nuria then asks when he'll return to Spain, as she and Carlito miss him. Jackal responds that he doesn't know and has no new information about his work. Frustrated, Nuria expresses her dissatisfaction with his constant absence and secrecy about his work and colleagues. She ends the call without saying goodbye, determined to uncover the truth about his mysterious job. Nuria, driven by curiosity, enters Jackal's office and searches through his drawers, finding them all empty, which heightens her suspicions. She discovers a strange door behind his desk, leading to a hidden room. She searches the room but finds nothing unusual until she notices a small door in the floor. Opening it, she discovers a safe Jackal had been hiding all along. Meanwhile, Allison meets Bianca after hearing her voice message. At that time, Bianca apologized for what happened to her daughter and introduced her to forensic medicine. She explained that her daughter lost her life due to a crisis she had before she entered prison. Bianca apologized again for what happened and explained that her daughter's death was indirectly her fault because she had agitated her, causing the crisis to resurface. Bianca then changed the subject and discussed something else she wanted to show her, revealing that she wanted to know the location of a man who had killed 2 British officers when they tried to arrest him. They now needed to find him by any means necessary. However, the woman refused, saying people were happy again. Bianca clarified that this time was different, as her husband Larry was involved with the man as an accomplice. They had found Larry's number among the last calls made by the criminal stock. Bianca explained that they wanted money from Larry to flee to London. Despite this, Bianca didn't care about the reasons and told her that if she wanted to save her husband, she must find Stock's location as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, Larry was sitting alone at home when he received a call from Stock, who was at his new hideout. Stock told Larry everything that had happened. When Allison returned home, she noticed Larry looked shocked and distressed. She began to worry that he had discovered something about what she had done. Larry indeed asked her why she had been so insistent on contacting Stock. He revealed that as soon as he contacted Stock, the British police found his location and raided it. Larry then took Allison's phone and began to look through it, discovering messages she had sent, including Stock's number. Furious, he smashed her phone against the wall. Allison became frightened and tried to run away, but Larry caught her, dragged her back into the room, and attacked her violently. The next day, Nuria told her mother about the secret safe in Jackal's office. They tried various combinations based on their birth dates, hoping to open it, but all their attempts failed. Alvaro then remembered that if they had the receipt or invoice for the safe, they could take it to the manufacturer, who could create a new code to open it. Nuria searched through all their documents for the safe's receipt, but couldn't find it. Meanwhile, Bianca arrived at the police station after working non-stop for over a week. When asked how she was doing, Bianca admitted she was still grieving her daughter's death and couldn't cooperate with them at the moment. Noticing Bianca's exhaustion, her colleague decided to give her a temporary leave to rest. As Bianca was leaving, she received a call on her personal phone from Kevin, her colleague, who asked to meet her secretly outside the police station. Bianca met Kevin, who informed her that an American officer had told him they needed to catch the killer as soon as possible, as he might start committing a series of crimes against other politicians. Kevin expressed his certainty that Stock had known about their attack plan beforehand because he was prepared with ammunition and supplies. What puzzled Kevin even more was that no one except their small group, including their colleagues Damien and their boss Isabel, knew about the plan. This indicated that either Isabel or Damien had leaked the information. Bianca acknowledged the gravity of the situation and agreed they were in big trouble. Kevin advised Bianca to keep her information confidential and not to share anything with anyone moving forward. The following day, they discovered that Jackal's wardrobe had a secret encrypted door behind it. Nuria was shocked and became convinced her husband was hiding something significant. Later, Bianca's colleague informed her that they had found something useful on Stock's phone. Damien was present with them at the time, so Bianca asked him to get her a coffee, suspecting him and wanting to investigate further. Bianca's colleague revealed that 3 weeks before the murder, a specific number had been in constant contact with Stock. On the day of the murder, the same number had contacted him. Bianca asked if they had identified the owner of the number, and her colleague revealed that the name registered was Jackal. The next day, Elias returned from his estate and got into his car, only to find Jackal in the driver's seat. Suddenly, Jackal shot Elias's assistant, who was in the car with him. Elias was terrified and begged for his life. It was then revealed that Elias had hired Jackal to kill his father, but had failed to pay him the agreed amount. To eliminate any evidence against him, Jackal shot Elias in the car, killing him. He then placed a bomb in the car's trunk, walked away, and detonated it, destroying the car and its contents. Meanwhile, Alvaro, Noria's brother, brought tools and successfully drilled through the encrypted door in Jackal's wardrobe. He, his sister, and their mother entered the hidden room and were shocked to find an array of strange items, including various weapons, money in different currencies, and numerous fake passports used by Jackal. They were completely stunned and unsure of what to do. The biggest shock came when they realized Jackal was watching them through a surveillance device connected to his phone. He knew they were uncovering his secrets. The next day, Jackal was driving when he became distracted by a bird in the sky and accidentally hit the car in front of him. The driver got out and argued with Jackal, complaining that his boss would dock his pay for the damage. Jackal asked how much he earned so he could compensate him, but the driver refused and insisted on calling the police. When the police officer arrived and searched Jackal's car trunk, he found a weapon. Before the officer could take any action, Jackal shot him and the driver, wiped his fingerprints from the scene, and left. Later, Jackal called Nuria and invited her to Paris to spend some pleasant time together as an apology for his absence. After much insistence, Nuria agreed and traveled to Paris the next day. Upon seeing Jackal, she couldn't contain herself and slapped him without warning, demanding to know the truth he had been hiding all this time. Jackal couldn't deny it, but avoided telling her the full truth. Instead, he deceived her by claiming he worked as a political analyst for resolving international disputes. He explained that countries hired him when they faced problems with other nations. When Nuria asked if his work required him to kill, he assured her he would never do such a thing, but admitted he had kept his work secret because his operations were conducted illegally. Nuria accused him of risking both his life and their son's life, but Jackal reassured her that none of the people he worked with knew anything about his personal life. He promised her that within 2 weeks, he would end all his dealings with them. Then they lived together a quiet life, and nothing will ever separate them. The next day, Larry sends Bianca a message from Allison's phone, pretending that Allison wants to meet her and writing the location where she will be waiting. At night, Bianca arrives at the location mentioned in the message, which is in front of a river, and waits for a long time. She is shocked to find Larry there instead, who attacks her with a knife, injuring her arm. Bianca manages to escape before he kills her and calls her colleague to come to her rescue. Within seconds, Larry catches up with her again, but she distracts him until the police arrive. Larry jumps onto a boat in the river to avoid being caught and escapes immediately. Later, the police raid his house, surprising him, but Larry manages to flee before they can capture him. Meanwhile, at the police station, the investigator asks Bianca if she has gathered any new information. Serenia, but she denies it, refusing to reveal that they have reached Jackal's number. At this moment, Larry calls Stock's brother, asking him to find him an address to hide. Stock assures him that he will handle it and will call him back. At night, Bianca returns home after a long workday and is shocked to see Larry there, holding a knife to the neck of a girl named Jasmine, preparing to kill her in front of Bianca as revenge for her role in the death of his daughter, Emma. Bianca shoots Larry in the leg, causing him to release Jasmine. However, Larry manages to injure Bianca's neck before Jasmine runs to treat her wound. Bianca attacks Larry with the gun, threatening to kill him unless he tells her the location. Larry refuses and dares her to shoot him. She almost does, but Jasmine intervenes at the last moment, stopping her out of concern for her. Bianca refrains from killing him and calls the police. Larry is taken to the hospital due to the gunshot wound in his leg. At the hospital, Bianca pressures Larry to reveal the location by smothering him with a pillow, forcing him to give her the information she needs. Jackal calls Stock, and they learn that he needs a new sniper with certain specifications to finish off Ollie, but Stock tells him that his arm is now injured and he won't be able to make him one, in addition to the fact that he can't trust anyone in helping him making it. So that Jackal told him that he will come to him and they will make it together because he wants it within 5 days. Eventually, Larry confesses that Stock is in Hungary, specifically in Budapest, describing the neighborhood and house where he resides, although he does not know the exact name of the location. The next day, Bianca learns from secret sources that Jackal's next target is someone named Ollie, but she still does not know who Jackal is or how to find him. She decides to search for Stock as quickly as possible, using the details Larry provided about his location. Jackal arrives in Budapest and meets Stock at his house, beginning to help him craft the sniper rifle he needs. At the same time, Bianca receives a call from her colleague at home, informing her that they have located Stock's whereabouts. She packs her belongings and heads to the airport immediately. Meanwhile, Jackal starts training with the new sniper rifle, showcasing exceptional skill from the very first shot at a practice target. The next morning, Jackal sits near the house and is startled to see Bianca and the officer accompanying her entering Stock's house. He repeatedly calls Stock to warn him and urge him to take precautions, but Stock is still asleep and does not hear the phone easily. By the time he wakes up, it is too late. Stock scrambles to find a powerful weapon to defend himself, but is forced to grab a weaker one due to time constraints. He fires at the door before the officers breach it, but they are undeterred and launch an attack. Stock attempts to hide, resulting in a shootout between him and the officers. Eventually, they manage to capture and restrain him. Finally, Bianca interrogates Stock about Jackal, confirming that he had been in contact with him. However, Stock denies knowing anything about it. Suddenly, Stock is shot in the head, ending his life instantly. It is revealed that Jackal had fired the shot from afar, fearing Stock might betray him. Bianca leaves the house, searching for Jackal in every direction. Jackal steals a horse from one of Stock's neighboring farmers and escapes into the forest. Bianca chases after him, firing shots, but he remains unharmed. The pursuit continues into the night as darkness falls. Jackal, unable to see clearly, crashes into a tree in the forest, falling off the horse. He runs until he jumps into a river. Bianca arrives at the river, shooting into the water in hopes of hitting him, but he vanishes completely. Frustrated, Bianca grows angrier. Jackal later emerges from the river and breaks into the stable of the farmer, whose horse he stole, where he rests. When he wakes up, he attacks the farmer, knocking him unconscious. Jackal ties him up and waits for him to regain consciousness to learn his story. When the farmer wakes up, Jackal takes him to his house, along with the sniper rifle. Jackal tries to negotiate with him, offering him money in exchange for safe passage. But the farmer does not understand English. He tells Jackal he only speaks Hungarian and decides to call his brother Gabi for help. Gabi arrives with his assistant Laszlo, who speaks English, and they head to the farmer's house to negotiate with Jackal. Meanwhile, the farmer approaches the tied-up Jackal to feed him. Jackal headbutts him, knocking him down, and stabs him with a knife before escaping. He tries to start a car parked outside the house, but it does not work. Before he can leave, Gabi and Laszlo arrive and discover the farmer's body. Gabi shoots at the car, shattering its windows, and approaches it, only to find it empty. Jackal emerges from under the car and shoots Gabi in the leg, then finishes him off. Laszlo, terrified, is left alone. Jackal asks him if he has a car, and Laszlo confirms he does. Jackal orders him to drive him to his desired location. On the way, Jackal calls Nuria, asking her to bring him his disguise tools from her room. And this is because more than one person now recognizes him in his original appearance. Afterward, he takes Laszlo to the place he desires. Jackal refuses to kill him after learning he has a wife and son. However, he threatens him, saying that if he informs the police, he will send people to kill him and his son in front of his eyes. Then he leaves him and departs. Hours later, Nuria arrives to meet Jackal with the items he requested. Jackal disguises himself as an old man in front of her. Nuria bids him farewell at Estonia airport and leaves. He continues his journey to fulfill his mission. The surprise is that he boards the same plane as Bianca, who is traveling to Estonia with the team to secure the launch of the new product, which is the reason for the assassination attempt. The next day, Jackal is seen on the surveillance program by Alvaro, his wife's brother, who steals part of the money in his secret room to start a project. Nuria is aware of this and helps him. An approximate sketch of Jackal's features is drawn, and Bianca takes it to the guard of the hall where Ali is set to announce his new product. They begin securing the entrances and exits of the place, unaware that Jackal is already inside, hiding in an air vent. This is because he knows that once Ali arrives, all doors will be locked, and no one will enter without a personal invitation from Ali. Minutes later, Ali arrives at the hall and prepares to announce his eagerly anticipated product. At this moment, Jackal prepares his sniper rifle and sneaks up on the guards standing near the theater stage, silently killing them all. He then takes their place, aiming his sniper at Oli before he can announce anything. He fires a bullet at him, but the surprise is that there's another assassin in the same location who fires a bullet simultaneously at Jackal's shot. This makes Bianca certain that two individuals are involved in this crime. They open the exits, allowing the attendees to leave, and Jackal escapes with them unnoticed. When the organization that hired Jackal to assassinate him learns of this, they become very upset and frustrated, realizing that their only chance to carry out the assassination has been lost. However, Xena remains hopeful that they will attempt again, especially since the product launch has been postponed by another week to improve the situation. We then flash back to 2013 and witness a hidden and shocking part of Jackal's past, revealing that he was a soldier in the British Army. At one point, he was assigned, along with a battalion of his comrades, to eliminate leaders of groups in Afghanistan. It also becomes clear that his real name is Dugan and that Jackal is merely a code name. In the present, Bianca discovers in the British Army's officer records that a soldier named Dugan was the only one capable of hitting a target from the distances they hear about in Jackal's crimes. However, she learns that Dugan disappeared after his last mission in Afghanistan when a vehicle carrying his battalion was blown up. Since then, no one has seen him, and his body was never found, prompting her to investigate further. In the past, we see Jackal's friend approaching him with an offer to carry out an assassination mission for a very large sum of money, as they are the two most skilled in the battalion. They carried out the mission, received the agreed-upon payment, and they decided to use them for similar missions. In the present, Alvaro sees a picture on television matching Jackal's features after it was released by the media. He shows the picture to Nuria, who is shocked and immediately calls him to tell him what she and her brother saw. At that moment, Jackal becomes anxious and asks her to ensure he doesn't speak to anyone, confirming to her that he is indeed the criminal pursued by governments at this time. She becomes even more shocked by him. The next day, Bianca visits Larry in prison, only to be shocked when he kills himself in front of her, losing his life. We return to Jackal's past, where he is with his friend and partner Gary, away from the vehicle carrying the rest of the battalion. Suddenly, Gary is shocked as the vehicle explodes in front of him, revealing that Jackal detonated it remotely. He tells Gary that from now on, they must go to a place where no one can find them. In the present, Isabel shocks Bianca by telling her that, despite all her efforts, she must close the case for public interest. This is because she loses some of her best soldiers every now and then, and doesn't want it to happen again. She threatens Bianca with dismissal if she tries to act independently. At this time, Jackal arrives in Spain and meets Nuria, who is very upset with him. She gives him one last chance to confess the truth. Jackal is forced to admit that he indeed kills people for very large sums of money, leaving Nuria in the shock of her life, unsure of how to react. The next day, she tells him that her brother Alvaro is in a conflict with a gangster named Jimmy. She is very worried about her brother. Jackal reassures her that he will handle it. The following day, he shoots Jimmy with his sniper while he is sitting with Alvaro in a public place. On the day Ollie plans to announce his product, Jackal goes early to the place he knows Ollie likes to dive. He takes a boat near the location. As soon as he reaches the desired spot, he climbs aboard and kills the boat's captain. Jackal waits alone on the boat for hours until Ollie appears in a diving suit and dives into the sea in front of him. At that moment, Jackal prepares his sniper rifle to take him out, but Ollie's guards notice him and warn him. Ollie's assistant dives deeper to protect him from gunfire, but struggles to breathe for long. He and the assistant surface, and the assistant is fatally shot by Jackal's sniper. At that moment, Ollie dives alone for a short distance. As soon as he surfaces, Jackal shoots and kills him, finally completing the mission. The next day, while driving, Jackal is stopped by a traffic officer who wants to search him. Jackal runs him over with his car and speeds away. Police cars chase him from all directions, but he cleverly and skillfully evades them and escapes. At this time, Bianca decides to resign from her position after Isabel prevented her from continuing the case. When the foreign minister learns of her resignation, he orders Isabel to let her handle it her way, and she knows she can't go back. But after she leaves, she starts thinking to herself and decides to continue with the case, then resigns again. When she returns to the station, she finds out that Alvaro was arrested for Jimmy's murder, but was released after proving he wasn't involved in the crime. It turns out Bianca knew that Jimmy was killed with the same professionalism as the criminal they're searching for. She begins to ask how he was killed with the same level of skill as the criminal they're hunting. She starts questioning her colleague about Alvaro's life, hoping to reach the criminal through him. She learns that he is Spanish and lived with his sister and her English husband. At this point, she confirms that her sister's husband is Jackal. She takes the address where Alvaro lived and travels there with her colleague Vanessa on the same day. They surveil the house from outside. As soon as Jackal arrives and enters, they storm into the house to arrest him. At that moment, Jackal is in the weapons room and receives a call from Zena, warning him that the police have arrived at his location and that he needs to take precautions. Indeed, Jackal begins preparing himself for any confrontation. At the same time, Alvaro arrives at the house and causes a commotion. Vanessa accidentally shoots him, and Jackal starts shooting at them from above. Vanessa is hit by a bullet and dies instantly. Meanwhile, Bianca begins talking to Jackal, promising to help him and take his side. She convinces him that she only wants him to confess about the people he works with. Fortunately, she doesn't realize she's acting alone, making her an easy target for him. Suddenly, Jackal comes out of hiding and fires the final bullet, ending her life forever. During his escape, he gets hit by a car on the road, causing a major accident. However, he survives and regains consciousness. After some time, he travels to Xena and meets her, preparing to get information about their new victim, as if nothing had happened. He returns to his old ways, and the series ends with a truly remarkable final. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, make sure to subscribe for more awesome content.